California, strong 5.8 magnitude earthquake and swarm today. Before the 5.8 and after, we've been having swarms in the Cascadia San Andreas region, just 2 days after we had the very strong 5.5 earthquake in Baja California. This is the area of the Mendocino fracture zone, which is part of the Cascadia area, Cape Mendocino in Northern California. The Mendocino fracture zone is a zone and transport boundary. It's over 2,500 miles long, starting off the coast of Cape Mendocino in far Northern California, running westward from a triple junction with the San Andreas Fault and the Cascadia subduction zone to the southern end of the Gorda Ridge. Now, when we had the earthquake in Baja California 2 days ago, we were wondering what effect that would have on the West Coast, because that was a strong earthquake, reportedly felt by over, 4,500, almost 5,000 people. This one here, 5.8, was reportedly felt so far by 2,685 people, even though it was 86 kilometers, about 50 miles or whatever, 40 miles, 50 miles west of Petrolia. In the Pacific, it was still reportedly felt. And also the quake after that, 4.9 magnitude, was reportedly felt up to now by 350 people. Of course, thousands more would have felt it. These were just people that reported it. So this is Cascadia now, obviously shaking. The Mendocino and transport boundary, 2,500 miles long. The fracture zone is not a transform fault, but in the case of Mendocino, the term has been loosely applied to the active fault segment of the Gorda Ridge. This is where we're having this quake swarm. And many seismologists refer to the active segment as the Mendocino Fault or the Mendocino Fault Zone. It demarcates the boundary between northwestward moving Pacific Plate and the eastward moving Gorda Plate. The Gorda Plate this is where we're having our quakes, subducting underneath the North American Plate, offshore off Cape Mendocino, and where the Mendocino Fault interacts to the undersea trench of the subduction zone, it meets the San Andreas Fault, and this seismicity intersection is called the Triple Junction, specifically the Mendocino Triple Junction, and it's one of the worst places for earthquakes in the world. In tsunami studies, energy focusing around the fracture zone was noted, leading to increasing wave heights in the area around Crescent City, California. And the fracture zone, as referred to as Mendocino Escarpment, descriptively rather than named for its geological origin. Now, it was observed back in 1965, the alignment of the transfer tectonic zone extending from Mount Lassen, one of the high-threat volcanoes, to the Walker Lane fault system. We know that goes all the way down to Ridgecrest. That's where we had the Ridgecrest earthquake in July. And at the north end of Honey Lake Fault, suggesting it was once the continental terminus of the Mendocino Fault. So let's take a look at the map so we can have a better idea of what is going on there. This is our area of the 5.8 I've just marked there. It's about 85 kilometers west of Petrolia. This is the Mendocino Ridge, the Gorda Escarpment, and that's why it was felt. It was so close to this area. And in miles. Okay, in miles, it's about what? Let's go. It's a little bit of a diva. It's about 33 miles, whatever. Okay, to the coast. That's why it was felt by quite a few thousand people that reported, and a lot more, of course, that didn't report it. And this is where the swarm is taking place. And let's pull out so we can see the vicinity of the area. Lassen Peak Volcano, Mount Shasta, and pulling out so we can get a better idea of the faults that we will be able to see on the map. Okay, and our orientation. Okay, so this is where we had our 5.5 right here, Baja area. This is, as we know, all of this is a volcanic area, and this area right here, let's remember, it's not just earthquakes and subduction. We also have tremendous amount of magma under there and a lot of high threat and very high threat volcanoes of the west coast. Now, all of these high threat volcanoes are on the Walker Lane fault system. This is where we had our earthquake, as you can see, all the way down the San Andreas portion right there. Okay, and we did talk about the San Diego and Los Angeles, San Diego Rose Canyon fault that was very dangerous, and the scientists warning of a big earthquake potential there. But the fact that a lot of old buildings are not earthquake resistant. But this is obviously where the obviously the pressure hit. Okay, with the 5.8, almost, let's say 6. Okay, 5.5, 5.8, 2 days ago, and all this up here. And this is the San Andreas fault right here. And this is the Garlic fault. This is Ridgecrest right here. This is the Walker Lane fault system. This system is made up of thousands of faults. And that area, that Walker Lane fault system, pushes and pressures towards the Cascadia subduction zone, the Cascadia arc being right here. It pushes that way. So obviously you can see that that is exactly the area of where this pressure must have been released. And that was so big that obviously it jolted other faults. That happens. Now this quake was so big that it was felt in San Diego, Los Angeles, and we're going to take a look at the USGS maps as well, but I just wanted you to find. Now, the fact that we have magma under here, this magma, in the previous videos and the articles that we read, is like a Y-shaped body. The western area goes out right under Western California, the western arm here, and the eastern arm goes up to Yellowstone. So this magma supplies the west end Yellowstone. And they say that it's it could be that they have the old Pacific plate, the Farallon plate, lodged under the west coast, digging into and falling into the Earth's core. And that's why the part of that plume is directed towards the east around the Snake River Plain into Yellowstone. But that's the same magma body, okay? Let's keep that in mind. This is all a volcanic area. Okay, the Salton Sea is volcanic, Ridgecrest, and has 2 geothermal plants, one on the border, the U.S. border, another one right across the border in Mexico. We have Ridgecrest, which is the colossal volcanic field, which again has a geothermal plant. We have Long Valley Caldera supervolcano right on the Walker Lane fault system, which again has another geothermal plant. Clear Lake in those areas here has the biggest, the geysers have the biggest geothermal plants in the world. Okay, that's because we have magma under there, and that's what is causing the heating. It's a subduction of the Pacific plate under the North American plate, and 75% of the pressure is taken up by San Andreas right here, and the other 25% is taken up by the Walker Lane fault system, where we have all our high threat and high threat volcanoes of the west coast. Now going to the area of our earthquake, this is it right here, the Mendocino. Let's pull out so you can see the Gorda escarpment. Okay, they're right there, and that's our quake swarm. And let's go back to see where our Baja quake was 2 days ago. Okay, and if you want to see the details on that, almost 5,000 people reported feeling it. The quake was, obviously it jolted the whole area. And we have this one here today. Now, I didn't put all the quakes on. These are only the quakes that are above 2.5 magnitude, so that we can see them more clearly. Okay, this is what we are talking about, the 5.8, and 2,693 up to now, and we do have other ones after that. This one here is after that, 4.9, very shallow. Okay, 352 reported that. And let's go to the shaking of the bigger one. Let's go to the shake map. Okay. And let's put it on the aerial so that we can see a bigger area, have a better view of it. Okay. Unfortunately, though, they only you can see you have shaking up here and here, but they only have, you can see here, these are the outlines of it. They only include the shaking in that area. Unfortunately, they don't include the shaking that's over here. But obviously, this is where it was felt. It was not small. Let's go to the liquefaction estimate. Nothing. And tectonics. Okay, it's right on the fracture, as we can see. Population density. Take away some of the shaking so you can see some more. Okay, and see some more. Okay. Okay, there's hardly anybody there, basically. Okay, but you can see that you did have shaking right there. Now, all right, here we have a beautiful image of our faults. And this is the triple junction, as we could see, and this is the San Andreas right here. That's the Hayward fault. San Andreas fault, Hayward fault, the San Andreas system. And that is Pinnacle, Salinas, California, where they meet. And the San Andreas goes this way, and this is where we had the Baja California 5.5 2 days ago. So you can see that that obviously jolts the area up here. So let's go back and put up all our quakes so you can have a better idea of what's going on. Okay, for the past week, because these are only the ones that are above 2.5. Okay, there we go. So I'm pulling out. Okay. And there we are. That's our activity. So we saw the activity from here, obviously having some kind of an effect on the pressure releasing in the areas of a weaker fault line, and that's what caused this quake as well. And they're still going on. 3.3 as well. Okay, so we could see that 4.8, 3.3, they're still going on. 7 reported that. Again, shallow depth. And please be careful, all of you up there, because, you know, they are warning that we have the potential for bigger quakes coming on the West Coast. I'll leave links below for you for this. Thank you. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.